And its power, for power's sake, it's gone. Capricorn is gone, but we are here with Astro Monday to talk about the forecast for this week. Wait till you see what's coming up this week. You don't want to miss this next hour. Tune in and send this out to a friend. This is going to be a powerful time. We are bringing up, of course, as always, my sensei, the Sirius Joy, master astrologer, built an app to help humanity, is Christopher Wateki, and he'll be up here shortly. So again, we may or may not be bringing up some people today. So if you put down in the comments your sun sign, if you have your degrees, it's better. Your sun sign, your moon, and your rising. Sun, moon, and rising. If you're a 25 degree, put 25 degrees sun, 25 degree moon, 13 degree rising, whatever it is. Okay. Put down if you have any questions about astrology. Yeah, woohoo, Aquarius. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, buddy, doing well. Welcome to Pluto and Aquarius.
Yeah, Pluto and Aquarius. My goodness, it's like, I told you I had a weird event on Saturday morning. Well,
Yeah, you did.
it just continued to go. I told the story today on my live. I wanted to share this with you, talking about power for power's sake and how power comes back in, right? So
Right.
this conversation started last week, and then my sister called me on Friday, 29 degrees,
Oh,
and with an urgency about dealing with a last part of my mom's inheritance.
oh, okay. Interesting.
And oh yeah, it was really interesting. And then it got mixed up a little bit with, how to get it. It had something to do with my son involved, and all this. And as we're talking, I feel this cramping in my heart, and I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to have the conversation, and I'm trying to figure out what it is, right? And then I'm like, this is my mom's energy. This was the control that she controlled us financially, and distribution of love and money right through the grave, where that control was. It's like, who gets it? What happens? How does it work? And I'm like, I get into the conversation, and your words were ringing right in my ear. Follow the heart, not what the brain says. Don't do it for money. And because what I was thinking is there's this last little bit, and there's three of us. And if I was to put the money in, I'd get the money out. Long story short. And I was thinking, well, I don't really want it. I don't have a need for it myself. So my daughter's got a wedding coming up. I'll give it to her. And so I went down that path, having the discussion where normally I'd say, don't want it. But that's why I was doing it, not for me. I was going to give it away. And then I got into it, and it's like that feeling came up, and then your words are ringing, pounding in my head. And I'm like, this is wrong. I don't want it. You guys can have it. You can have all of it. I don't want anything to do with it. You can keep my share. You can do whatever you want with it, is what I ended up. And then all of a sudden, my
Wow.
heart lifted. Yeah.
Huh. So you might have been opting out of an issue with your mom.
It was an issue with my mom, but it was the issue that my mom used to control us.
Right.
And
Right. So,
and I had the inheritance money that when it was all gone, and we had spent all of our money, and we went to zero in Human Garage in 2021. And then the day we went to zero, we had no money left. We got a $50,000 donation. And
wow.
and that was what needed to happen. I believe that in my whole thing, you watched me go from the clinic, millions of dollars, to zero purposely. And that was a tough journey. And I was saying, because not because of the money, because of all of the things that it does to you along the way. Who
Hmm.
am I? What's my value? What do I perceive? How do people perceive me? And that journey, and it was like one last piece of it coming up. It's like my mom reaching her hand out of the grave and going, ha, got you again.
My dad does that from the grave.
Yeah.
It comes through in readings. Very interesting. So you end up walking away, just saying, y'all go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
It was because I knew in my heart, first of all, if I'm taking the money, I mean, I have a very different space in my life and different philosophy now. I live completely in the flow. And if I'm taking it, why do I take it? For security, because I don't believe that I'm going to get it elsewhere. Human
Mm.
Garage, with millions of people around the world, we did it without any money.
Yeah.
And And we did it. We created through that. We created a worldwide volunteer network that helps other people help people. And had we had money, we wouldn't have happened that way.
Oh, oh, right. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
Good.
it was just part of this is going on. Everybody has their own decisions. They have their own journey. But I have found that in my journey in particular, that if I believe in something, I believe in it 100%, not 99.9. And I believe that being in the flow, I believe that walking away from the control of money was something I needed to do. And we were talking about this last week heavily.
Yeah. Control for power's sake. Yeah, and what power, and that's and that's often, well, we can go down this rabbit hole, but the idea, like the way you built your business organically. And most of the time when businesses, and you know this better than anyone, it's like they get this huge investment of money and they grow much faster than they would have organically.
Right.
And now you have a whole sweep of
Yeah.
problems and someone else outside your business calling the shots based on owing them money. So it really distorts everything.
Yeah.
And it grows faster than it would have organically. So no one's prepared for that.
Yeah.
In the organization, no one's prepared to manage on that level. It's unnatural. So, well, good
It
for
was,
you.
well, if we had $20 million, it wouldn't have Human Garage wouldn't have grown as fast as it did.
Right, because you would
Be-
have gone by the other way. Yeah,
Yeah, and which creates all of the problems that go along with it.
right.
Because
All the
that
problems.
feeling of obligation and debt and beholding, or that feeling of lack, gets transferred into every relationship, every conversation, every live, everything.
Yes, I can see that. And also, suddenly you now are exposed. You don't have the power to control. I mean, when for our businesses, I mean, Eben and I have always just been. We're 8 years now. We're going slow, right? Like, but you lose the if you're going to be a spiritual business that's going to call the shots according to spiritual principles. You don't want the monopoly guy with their finger in your business.
No,
You just don't. You don't
can't.
want them. They don't understand. And I've been up against this in a couple of people that in the sense of it's money, 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 and it's like there's more than money here at stake.
Yeah.
Money isn't everything. Money is a part of it because it buys out. But even when I think of money, I think of what I'm going to do with it right away. I don't even think about hoarding it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
For
a
me, it's
currency,
like,
it's a flow.
yeah, for me, it's always about what can I do with this? I'm always going to spend it right away on expanding even more.
Yeah.
So that's just who I am. So yeah, so I'm finding that a lot of those that sounds like a real Pluto and Capricorn. I had a few tests of seats of power also, more minor. For instance, comments that were trying to pull me into the old argument. I had a couple of situations. I had ex-girlfriend reach out. So all these like, you sure you don't want to come back down this old misery lane? It's just like, no, I'll stay here. So I did see in this over this weekend. That's what I felt the old ending and the new beginning. And today feels lighter, I would say. In fact,
It does.
today I actually sort of like don't care. Like today I'm kind of like, I want to play. Like suddenly I'm like, oh, I hope the new era I don't want to work anymore. But maybe, I don't know. Are you feeling Pluto and Aquarius?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like exactly what you said. I feel like I don't care in a good way, and caring caused fear, uncertainty because I cared so much. If it and to be more precise, I think the mechanism what I got tested on was the mechanism that I learned to use. I've had lots of money in my life, as you know. I've used money to control situations, people, things, and stuff like that. And then when I felt it coming in, I'm like, uh.
Yeah.
So you would have
Yeah.
been the same thing maybe in a different way. For me, that was how I was dominated. That was how I dominated, is I controlled situations with money. I mean everything with money.
Hmm. I've never had money. I've never had it in abundance. I always just had what I needed. And I just
But
always,
yours was the relationship, the people. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. We all
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dropped.
yeah.
So
Right. Yes.
let me give you a reference.
Relationships used to be what controls me. Yes,
So
absolutely.
let me give you a reference point. So how I knew that this was important was before I actually even had the conversation. I had two people that same day talk about inheritances, and they were really distorted. And on Friday, and then previous to that, I had three other people that week talk about it. I had two people in my private conversations talk about it. Somebody in our team dealing with it, all with inheritance, all at the exact same time.
Hmm.
And then when it came up for me, I'm like, my spidey senses are tingling. This is
Yeah.
something I need to pay attention to. It's like the universe or me or whatever you want to say, consciousness saying, big red light over here. So yours, oh, and then I asked on my live today, and all these people were like, yeah, I have all these issues with inheritances coming up. So yours was different. It was around people and temptations and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
I think everybody got it because I had another 29-degree Leo that had a weird situation on Friday. It was just like somebody was in a parking lot. Lady fell down, blood all over her. Nobody was doing anything. She's a Canadian. It's in the United States. She's like getting in there, like feeling responsible, like a Leo, and getting in there and taking care of it, feeling overly responsible. But everybody got something on Friday or Saturday to shake them a little bit. It feels like.
Yeah, there was one last dance with the devil, basically one last dance, a final dance. Of course, the devil's like, "I'll be back."
Yeah. But that's what you said last week. Last
Yes.
week you said that this is what was coming.
Yes, I do think that it was exactly as I
Yeah.
predicted. But I was on my back. But this is some easy prediction because Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto moving out of Capricorn is such a big deal. And Capricorn is so controlling. Power, the nature of control is to not give up control. So that's what control
Okay.
is. So, pretty much when you say you're going to give it up, there's going to be this other contrary force that try to pulls you back in. And usually it finds like a little string or a little version that you hadn't thought or anticipated on.
Yeah.
Like something you didn't really expect coming. Because otherwise I know better, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was the point. Is like I was waiting all week for these obvious ones to come and there was nothing. And I thought,
Right.
whoa, this doesn't even feel right. There always has to be something. And then
Yeah.
when it came, it came under the guise of such an innocent thing. It was something that already previously existed. It was a continuation.
Yes. Yeah. Something came back. It's also things closing, like final business. That's a lot of karma doors closing with your
Yeah,
brother, I mean, with your siblings and with your mom and everything else. And good for you for not, putting it on your daughter's shoulders too.
that was the next thing. It was like, no, there's another way to do it, and we'll just take care of it another way. I want to help, but I can help in a lot of ways. I don't have directional control of money in my life now, and I don't want it. It's a
Yeah.
weird place to be, but for a guy who's made my own money since I'm 9 years old, it's a weird place to be. But I was saying to my sister, it's like, no, I can't even make that decision because I don't control anything. I don't have any control of any money in any way. I don't have a wallet. I don't have a bank account. I don't have a driver's license. I don't control any of that anymore.
Yeah, you've gone very, very rogue in that regard. Good for you. We're all watching you on webcam to see how that turns out. But I think
it,
it's great.
it's been the most freeing that I've ever felt in my life. That's why I felt the contrast in my heart because that's not what my heart wanted.
Hmm. Where's your Pluto? See, I have Pluto in the house of money, so I'm being forced to make money in this life. God's making me. Like it's because I refuse to. I think I've been you in most lives.
Yeah,
Where you are now. No, I really have not
yeah,
cared
yeah.
about
No, I
money.
get it.
I haven't cared about money or property. I always inherited stuff. I was always on spiritual. I was always funded by some king. I was always like the king's right hand. Like I was always taken care of by other people. And always, people always just like, come over, we'll feed you. Like when you're the nice guy, everyone's always offering you free lunch. So in this life, God's like, no, you need to earn some money. Like, shit.
You know,
Okay.
here's the interesting thing is this is what we were proving with Human Garage is that this was not built on money. Money
Yeah.
came in to facilitate things afterwards. But it was built on what our heart wanted and only what our heart wanted, with a belief and an unwillingness. Like when we went down to no food in Lions Bay, when the three of us there was no food, and then our families trying to bring us food, and we're like, no, take it away if we don't want it. This has to work this way. Um, it was we could go get it, but and we could have monetized our programs, but we had a belief that and a desire in our heart to bring this into reality, to let the universe bring it in, to prove it to us. This is kind of what we were supposed to do.
Right. And you actually hear stories like that. So when people go and study with a guru like in India, you always hear about this phase where they make you go begging for food
Yeah.
for a period of time. They, as part of working with the guru, you have to go on the street as a beggar. You have to um, experience life as the what's the word? I can't remember, the intolerable. I can't remember what they call that level of person, but you basically have to go beg for food and live on God's donations as a rite of passage to understanding how the universe actually fulfills.
I, I, I think that there's not I think my experience in my personal life is that that's very true, because I mean, the only guru I was working with was you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
untouchable.
trust
Thank you,
anybody
healthy,
else.
wealthy.
But
Yes, everyone's giving me the name. It's Untouchables, correct? Yeah, you have to go walk as an untouchable.
yeah,
Go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
because you were the only one I trusted to guide me without uh, without prejudice or sense of, I can't get the word right now. Without, there was nothing in it for you, but just my friend who knew the journey and saw it when it started, and you were able to guide me through it. That's why I didn't listen to anybody else.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, I'm only in it for your good. Or I'll be right there in that tropical zone, if that weren't the case, which I will be at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 for
Judgment.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean,
Without bias or judgment. Yeah, there's no judgment. I have no judgment. I'm a person that really doesn't care.
yeah,
Like, because I understand the truth of reality, which is everyone has to try everything once. So it's just like whoever you're calling bad, you were in a past life,
yeah.
so it's moot waste of time. So I'm feeling lighter with Pluto and Aquarius. Are you
I
feeling
am
lighter?
too. Yeah, yeah. I feel lighter. Feels easier. I felt so my I had physical symptoms in Capricorn. I had to crawl into my lies. Like I had to I get up every morning at like 5:30, 5:45, and then we go to the beach, we do maneuvers, and then I'm taking a nap before my live, and then I'm taking a nap before this meeting, and that's what I did. The last four meetings we had is I had to have two naps in order to get through the day.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually been really sleepy. Like I have been sleeping, and my dream life has been off the hook.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know. I just had a dream this morning that it was New Year's, and I was watching all the fireworks go off, and I had broken a glass, so I was looking for a broom to
As
to clean up the glass. Everyone else is partying, but I've been really sleepy. I actually slept through a meeting this last week by accident. Never done that before. Everyone's like, "Where is he?" They're like forming a search party. I was asleep.
So
So I
that's what
feel it.
Capricorn was like for me. It feels like 0 degrees when we had our meeting. It just felt like nothing. But then on 1 degrees, I could start to pick it up. Today, um, it felt light. It felt like I want to be doing stuff. I want to be out there.
That's how I feel too. Actually, I was feeling so I went to Mexico on vacation, and I'm like, I'm ready for another vacation, which is so not me. So, but I'm kind of wanting that Disney life, so to speak, of just things being pretty and music. I'm definitely feeling this call for everything to get lighter and more fun.
Yeah.
Pluto and Capricorn was way serious. I was taking everything so seriously, and now I kind of just I'm not as of this moment so
So
far. And I
we
was
have
just go ahead.
Aquarius is about the age of Aquarius is about the veil is lifted. You can't hide anything. Fairness, truth. So since Friday, we've had the NFL get called out for scripting.
That was interesting.
We've
Yeah.
got all the Sports Illustrated. Everyone got fired.
Sports
And we
Illustrated,
found out
yes.
that Sports Illustrated wasn't Sports Illustrated. There's a company that was running it that was paying to one of the 35 corporations we've been talking about for a long time that actually run and own everything that we see, feel, talk, breathe, vote for.
They went, I guess they didn't make their royalty payment,
3.5 million,
apparently.
yeah.
Yeah, which was that quarterly? They're paying 3.5 million
Yeah.
quarterly. It was interesting just to have the inside of the business. So that's roughly 15 million a year, probably.
Just to operate the business, and then there's percentages that go on there, and all the companies are interwoven anyways. But that is so that was the start, because there was a get together of some people I was talking to, and they're all a bunch of writers and editors and writers and stuff like this, and a whole bunch of them got caught up in that and got laid off. Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg, and now we're in Aquarius. So that's the beginning of the veil coming down, because once that chip and that ice goes, the next one goes, the next one goes, the next one goes, because that goes all the way upstream. They're all connected.
Oh yeah, it's a threat. That's one thing about building a monopoly is that once you start to pull the string, everything starts to come undone, the whole thing, because they're all tied, they're all legally connected. I think Aquarius is about, at the core of it, it's really about our frequency going to a higher frequency. So, consciousness has frequencies, as you know.
Yeah,
Pain is a very low, slow, and love is a very fast, high.
yeah,
So, um, it's like hummingbird versus a falcon. We're now moving to hummingbird status. So anything that's slow frequency is either going to pull the hummingbird down and drown it, you know what I mean, into the swamp, which some people will get pulled down because they won't fly fast enough, or we break free from these lower frequencies, and in that process of breaking free of the lower frequencies, truth is exposed. Like what was
yes.
holding you back, how it was holding you back, you know. So it's interesting. And Sports Illustrated seemed like it was under, when I was growing up, the covers of Sports Illustrated were attractive. You know what I mean?
Well,
Let's put it that way.
that was before we had pornography, right? So I mean, that was it. It was like a bikini. You couldn't show anything else. That's when they had on the television stations, when a couple were in bed, one foot was out of the bed on each of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so and that was good, but the point is like it was sort of forced out of its high vibration of what it was high. It was forced down into all these rules and principles, and I'm not sure what happened editorially, but I think it was under a spell to be something it wasn't,
Yeah,
right? So that's a perfect example of if you are with Pluto and Aquarius. See, Aquarius is authenticity. It's the real frequency. So any false does get exposed. Truth, freedom, authenticity. So if you are being inauthentic to your own truth, it's going to fall apart.
yeah,
That's that is ultimately the formula that we're seeing here. And so that's why it's not that there's this that the universe wants to expose all the dirty secrets. It's that people are pretending to be what they're not. And that's no longer supported anymore by the
yeah.
universe.
Fair statement, which by default exposes a lot of secrets.
Absolutely. Because once you come out of the closet and expose your truth, whatever you've been hiding or whatever, and that's the thing. Why were you hiding? Power for power's sake. You were hiding because you wanted power. It wasn't because it was what your heart wanted. It wasn't true to who you were. It was because you wanted power over your own life because people are trying to control you. So sometimes it's very innocent, power for power's sake. It's that I don't want to be controlled. So I'm being inauthentic to myself so that I'm not going to be controlled by others. I'm going to lie so that this person doesn't control me. And it's
Yeah,
like, well, you're being inauthentic still for power's sake. Even though that power's sake was protecting from power lords, you're still playing the game of power for power's sake. So the point is even if it's defense, power for power's sake, it's going to fall apart even if it's defense.
yeah. So I feel that. I feel lighter today. It's a field day. It's a community day. It's a cancer day. But what does this week look like? Because I'm super interested. I mean, it feels like it's time to run, but what do the days show up?
This whole week is navigating your inner space. That's the theme of the week. So what we're coming to realize this week is that it's not, back to our conversation, it's not that we have changed, it's that we have not been authentic to our heart.
Right.
So this is a week where you come out of your own closet, where you realize you have been hiding from your vibrational truth and that you have a truth that you have not been expressing. And so the full moon happens on Thursday in Leo at 5 degrees Leo, and that full moon is going to reveal where your mind has been unloving or your mind has failed to be loving in your attitude about yourself. So what this week really is a huge attitude breaker. This is going to break down a unloving attitude your mind takes with yourself. That attitude was probably constructed like, for instance, it's like your attitude in the past, to use your example, might have been, you know what, I want to pay, I want the money for my daughter's wedding. I'm just going to have to eat shit and deal with my family. And so your mind would tell you, eat shit and deal with your family. Very unloving, not what your heart really wanted. We all have these voices that have told us just to take one for the team, sacrifice what your heart wants. You're better off this way. So that we're unraveling that devil's advocate thought pattern
Right.
with this full moon, and getting and basically rebooting. Really, it's a revolution of the heart taking over the mind. The mind has been overtaking the heart, and now the heart is going to champion. It's a heart revolution.
So we got so tomorrow is all about what we believe, and then Thursday is going to be it's a Grandmaster Aquarius day.
Right. So the way it works is, so yesterday is like, are you true to your boundaries? Are you true to your heart? Step one. Are you true to your feelings? Step two. That's today. Are you being true to your feelings? Like, truth is, I don't feel like it. That's the truth. Are you being true to your beliefs? Step three. And then step four is, okay, so are you true to yourself or not? Like, are you true to yourself? Then we get to step five, and our mind's like, well, I can't be true to myself because I have to make this other person happy. So what happens is we find our truth, and then the full moon reveals where your mind tries to party, tries to poop on that party. And so there's this. It ends in a conflict of: is my mind going to get on board in my program of truth, or is my mind going to lie to myself, talk myself out of it, stay on this deception? And because the full moon is connected to Saturn, Saturn's at 5 Pisces. So this little experiment with our heart, letting our heart rule instead of our mind, is the final bridge as to whether you're going to think like the old karma version of you or you're going to think like the new karma version of you. So this week of being true to yourself ends up breaking you free of a mental pattern you've had with yourself probably since you were born. So a major mental pattern.
So with it being 5 degrees, we said Saturn is in
Pisces.
5 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, five. So five is also thinking, but it's also communication.
Yep.
So do you expect a lot of people to I declare this, I declare that, speaking up? Is that a theme of this week?
If it's in the cards for you, the real realization is in yourself, with yourself. Some people will immediately go post that on Twitter. Some people will immediately go to tell their family, I've had enough. Step 14 is usually when you express your opinion in the outer world. So step 5 is really, in my experience, internal thought.
Internal, right? Yeah.
And 14 is when you follow where your heart belongs. 14 is when you come out of the closet, you tell them at work, whatever. You let the other people know. So we're not quite there yet. But
It's
someone
funny,
might be.
Cynthia's on here and she's 14 with a 14 Chiron.
I'm sure she tells you her opinion all the time.
Yes. Oh.
That's what 14s do. They always share their opinion, and they're meant to. They're meant to be the one that says, what no one else is saying too.
So
in fairness to her.
So the after Thursday, the full moon coming into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's gotta be pretty. I mean, it's gotta be pretty. It feels like the universe has gotta be bringing stuff to us.
I think there's a real sense of relief. I think, I don't know. Imagine, I mean, we've all held ourselves in some sort of a prison by forcing ourselves to become something we're not, right? And so I think there's a real liberty. I think there's a party going on. I actually called it the party train in my Namaste Today live. I think you're once I know this from gay friends. Once gay friends came out and said I'm gay, they felt so. I mean, that's why gay means happy. It's because when you are out of your own imprisonment and pretending to be who you are, and you can just be who you really are, it's so exhilarating and so happy and so joyful. So I actually predict it's going to be a very joyful weekend. But there's Mars and Mercury both square Chiron after the full moon, which does indicate there's a likelihood that relationships will come to a close. So this revelation of your inner truth will likely create relationship changes.
Was that, and we say relationships, everybody always goes to people, but is that relationships with work, relationships with thoughts and beliefs and stuff like that?
Everything. It's your relationship to daily life, which would include people. But the reason why people are a little highlighted in this one is because the South Node is in Libra, and so with the South Node in Libra at 18 degrees at that time, that means relationship change. And Libra itself is usually to people, although it can also be to places and things. So my guides and my gut tells me that I think a lot of people are going to realize this week that they can't work together anymore, that they've come to the end of their journey. And that would also be working in this organization. This is basically what happens is when you are right with yourself, if you're wrong with others instantly. As soon as you stop questioning yourself. So when the whole world's like, you should be this and you should be that, and you're like, oh, maybe I should, and you question who you are, and you kowtow and change who you are instead of just being who you are. Once you know where you belong with you, then you know where you belong with everything, and it's crystal clear. So I've said this many times. I said this in my countdown. Valentine's Day will be a Black Rose event. This is a Black Rose Valentine's Day. There will be more breakups than there will be dates,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Send them
You know,
black roses.
I, I, I can see that. I mean, the year and the revelations that people have gone through this last year, it takes these monumental events where you say, "How come I don't feel or vibrate like everybody else, or like we should at that time?" And and then that draws up the bigger question: What am I doing?
Right. So this week is all about getting honest with yourself. Like the universe is supporting you being honest and authentic. And the fear is what we've been told is that there's no place for you in this world. And the response to that is, then this is not my world. See you later. You know what I mean? Like, and that's because we've been under, with the Capricorn energy, I don't think people really see this. We've been under totalitarianism for centuries. Anyone in power want to have absolute power over everything, and that brainwashed us into thinking that, first of all, that we have to be liked by everybody, that our product has to get along with everyone, that we have to have a bestseller. There's all sorts of weird symptoms of this totalitarian approach. When you take this more humanitarian approach, is you do you and I'll do me, then suddenly you are just free from all sorts of social obligations you were putting on yourself, and you're free to just be who you are.
That's interesting. Yeah, I really do feel that. I mean, it feels like this Aquarius. It feels like the forging. Like you said, it's about vibration. It's who do I vibe with? What do I vibe with? What do I no longer vibe with?
Yes, where is the good finding those good vibrations? And that's where I honestly feel. And I had a vision too. I'll just share too. It's like for those people who are wanting their perfect love, I think it's here. I think that you being true to you right now, when we get to Gemini, which is the next air sign, so that's the trine of this. We're in Aquarius, so Gemini is the next trine, and then Libra is the third trine. What I'm seeing in my third eye I literally saw like people making out as comets are destroying the Earth. So it's like the Earth is going to collapse, and people are going to be falling in love. People are going to be finding their twins, is what I because they've been false to themselves for so long. So if you're out there and you've been wanting love, and I have so many clients like, where's my love, where's my love, and I kept saying to them, it's not till the new era, like, because this is all based on your old karma. As soon as we clear that karma, you can be with the one you've always meant to be with. And I think in this lifetime, a lot of people have been waiting for their true love till once they hit fix themselves, if you want to call it that. So getting right with yourself right now is putting out the signal. Gemini is finding them. Libra is uniting with them. So I think this is a grand trine of connections and finding your people, finding your tribe, finding your mate.
Yeah, and I think that you know that comes down to it. It is really it's about finding your tribe, and
Yes.
that love is within your tribe somewhere.
Yes.
We
Right.
used to go outside of our tribe to have a love relationship, bring it back in, and have all this Romeo and Juliet. Let's our families don't agree. Let's kill ourselves.
Yes. Well, we were trying to be, well, Romeo and Juliet is a perfect example. It's like you're not being who you are, you're not being authentic to who you are, you're living up to your royal expectations of you, the power for power's sake expectations of you. You're trying to stay in power. They're being told if you don't marry who we want you to marry, you'll lose your power. These controls are just disgusting, and they've kept us from being happy. So I have a suspicion that it's going to be that the rest of, I mean, this is the vibe I'm wanting. It's time to have fun.
Yeah.
It's time to have fun. We've been working our whole life. It's time to have fun now, you know?
So we're officially into the area. We've spent 3 months talking about personal issues, and it's been really personal. Now we're going into how it affects community and then into the world. So people have been having, I would say that two-thirds of every person I talk to that I have talked to has a demonstrated physical issue, either highly emotional or highly physical, sickness or sickness and emotions or mental or something like that. And that's like two-thirds of everybody that I've talked to in short form, meaning that I haven't got into the other third yet. So people are in that, but it feels like it's going to all start their issues because time is delayed. Feels like it's all coming out in the next 3 months. Like their issues, their personal issues are going to force their relationship issues. Like, why aren't you there for me? I was personally sick. Why don't you believe in me? I was personally having an issue. Now I'm not. These, does that sound like it resonates with you? Because I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to grasp all the data that's coming at us with everybody's health challenges.
I think, I think the body, I think you're right on. The body has embodied these problems. So what I think what I hear you saying is that people are facing, as soon as they face their health issues, they face their life issues. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, because it's all fine and good. I start having a health issue. Normally, I go inside. Like what we have is we have like husband and wife. They're both contacting us simultaneously, separately, not knowing the other one's contacting us, telling us about their health issues they don't want to share with their partner.
Oh, wow.
That I mean, that's not the exception. That is the norm right now.
Wow.
People don't like so a lot. I've never seen this before. It's like people are afraid because you have we don't talk about politics and religion because of what it does. Well,
Right.
the last 3 years have made personal health issues the same category as politics or
Yeah.
religion.
Yeah. I was going to say, it sounds like a traumatic effect, a symptom of COVID.
Yeah.
That that you first of all, you don't want to like put it into spoken words, so you don't want to make it happen, but then I think we've just seen so many people dropping dead. There's this, you don't want to put your partner through that, right, kind of thing, and it's just too sticky. Yeah. And then what's the real cause? There's a lot of argument about what the real cause is too, that really
I'm
trips
going
people
to
up.
step away from that. In my personal thing, I see first of all disease and dysfunction is emotion, 100%. Even if you have a genetic disorder, the genes have to be exasperated. They have to be charged. You can have the gene; it doesn't matter. You have to have the epigenetic, which is the stressor on the gene. The greatest stressor is emotions. And if I feel shame, fear, anger, guilt, that triggers more bad metabolic effects or bad effects on the body than anything else. So, so it's all emotional at the end, and we have all of these emotions trying to squeezing out of people. Because I noticed this weekend here, coming through 29, what it was a feeling or an emotion that was still attached to an old narrative sunk in my mind that was squeezing out.
Yes. Yes, it is emotion. It is emotional, and it is in the body. And emotion is funny because emotion is about how you react, not that it.
Yeah,
So we're kind of we don't have a right understanding of emotion. Um,
I agree.
it is the soul communicating to you,
Yes.
and so that's the first thing. It's a communication. It's a hey, did you know we feel lousy about this? Right? Like, do you know we feel angry about this? And so if the response is, "Oh no," well then you just like blew up the fire, right? So the response to the feeling is the control, or is the power, is the healing.
Well, that fits with the way we believe. So we believe that all stimulus comes from outside the body. We get a signal, look, desire. Where's that desire? I'm thirsty. So then I go to the brain and I react to it. My reaction, that's the point of free will, is my reaction on how I choose, because every feeling in the body has two components, like sadness and joy are the same chemical in the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Your perception tells you which one. Same thing with confidence and fear. It's the same exact chemical. Love and compassion, same chemical. So at the moment it happens, I get to choose there where, and that's where my free will is, to choose there. Because if I choose sadness, well, then I attract more of that to reinforce that to help me out. If I attract joy, then I attract more of that to help me into that emotion.
Yes, and it's as simple as this. I was watching Bashar. Do you watch Bashar? Have you seen his clips?
Yeah, I mean, not actively, but I've seen him. I've listened to him a couple
He's
times. Yeah,
got some compelling stuff, and one thing that really struck a chord with me this weekend was that really honestly, if you just respond to every problem as an
yeah,
opportunity, that's it. Like, there is no such thing as a problem. So every problem is an opportunity. If everything that you would perceive as negative, you perceive as positive in hiding,
yeah.
there's a gem here. There's a reward here. There's something fascinating here. Then your life will immediately take off in the direction you want it to go. It's really just that simple.
Well, that I mean, and that's actually part of. So we mechanically look at the body in that way. A thought is way down the chain on the action or reaction of the body. Human beings, the whole human experience is built to react. If you put up your hand and I push against it, you push back. Until there's a stimulus, we don't act. And
Right.
and until I have an emotion, I don't move. Like I have a thought, I got to go do something. But until I have a desire, which is the emotion, I don't move. The thought just sits there and rambles.
Yes. And that's what the planets are doing. So now to go to bigger, like what the planets do is they bring it up. They bring it to your attention. It's so by creating a wave. Like
Yeah,
suddenly I notice my fear. Suddenly I notice my control issues. Suddenly I notice where most of us are designed to make apparently our wake is only like a small percentage of our consciousness, like my hair here. The rest is all subconscious asleep. So what the planets do is they pull out of the subconscious things that we have deliberately forgotten, or well, it's all deliberate. There's nothing accidental.
well, I mean, it goes again to our model of the body. The brain is just a processor. We even think of the brain as an organ, but it's not by definition an organ. The brain is a processing unit. The fascia is your subconscious. It's where all the memory, all the storage, all the beliefs are held. The way I experienced that is when I fasted for 44 days. I could remember that I liked the food, but I had no. I knew I liked it, but I had no memory of the food because I had forgotten the taste. I didn't have the emotional connection to the taste.
Right. Right. Hmm. I'm a foodie. I
so,
love food.
so so let's take it a step further. So this week we're gonna push through to Monday,
Hmm.
and by Monday we're back into a decision, right?
So by Monday, so really you're reinventing your inner vibe this week. That's another way of looking at it. What's it like to be you? Is life amazing? Is life a party? Is life a struggle? What's your core vibe? That's really what this whole week is. And then Monday, you commit to that
Right.
vibe next Monday, a week from now. So next week we have committed to what the vibe is. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about the party bus. I think that's going to be my vibe. That I'm on a party bus this lifetime. And then once you commit to that vibe, then your life either fits with it or doesn't fit with it. You have your tuning stone, you have your Rosetta Stone, you have your foundation as to what you measure the rest of life against. You being the sole battery of the core vibration. And then from that point on through Aquarius, we accept or reject things in our life according to whether or not it's a part of that vibe.
Hey, I just got to point out I caught one. B Bow, Sun 29-degree Pisces, Moon 29 Libra, Rising 13 Virgo. Please send me a copy of your chart. Chris and I have a little group that we meet with. If your sun is at 29, we want to talk to you.
Yeah, we're doing social experiments on
Yeah,
29s.
yeah,
No, we're not. We're doing a beta test of how to life coach a specific step number.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we're
And
doing it 29 and 2. We're looking at 29s and 2s. And 29s and 2s being the end and the beginning of everything. So we're kind of starting with the end and beginning of everything.
it's interesting because we had our meeting at 0 degrees when we normally have it at 29 degrees. And it was like everybody was fighting at 29. There's all this energy, and at 0 degrees, it's like anthem statements. I'm no longer this. I'm doing this. It's funny because people, I found that it was hard for them to even bring up a question. They want to make statements, which on 29 they had
They
questions.
were settled. Yeah, I was watching the WhatsApp chat. It was just crazy the night before. And I was just like, man, it's going to be a hell of a meeting. And we get there, it's just crickets. Everyone's just Everyone's just quiet. I'm just like, Gary's texted me behind the scenes, like, they're not asking questions. I'm like, they're settled. The masses have spoken. There's nothing to talk about. But 0 is 0. You go back down to that. It's funny how it builds up, it goes back down, builds up, it goes back down. So you definitely feel that 0. So yeah,
Sullivan,
exciting stuff.
Sullivan, Simone, if you're 29 and your sun sign, go to astro.com, print out your chart, send me a copy of it and in Instagram. And if you're 29, your sun sign or 0, we'll put you in that group. Now, one of the things though that I want to double back on because astrology is really great, and everybody wants to hear about what the future is and all that. But until I had your app, it was virtually useless in my life. It was something
Mm.
that I talked about, I figured out, and I was coming up because this weekend it snuck up on me. Like it was like I was waiting for the big control mechanisms, and there was none. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm clear. And I'm like, it snuck up. But what got me was the messages that were proceeding up to 29 degrees, and they kept pointing in a direction. I kept saying to myself, I just don't feel that. I don't feel that, which is not normal with your service. Normally I feel it all. And if it wasn't for the app and our conversations, like even last week with Astro Monday, the week before, about doing what the heart wants, I would have missed that. Because I really believe it is the response. And my response was highly affected by the information I got by getting those messages and then by our conversations. Tell me more about the future of the Sirius Joy app.
Well, I'm glad you asked. We're releasing a whole new app this year, which we've been working on for a long time. And we're gonna make available. We're building it in different tiers now, so you'll be able to sort of join according to the tier. Right now, we're all for one
Yeah.
price, but we're gonna come out to where you can just sort of get your feet wet, and you can opt in for more and opt in for more. So that's part of it as well. But the theory behind the app is this: is that I realized, and this is from a mutual friend, Kevin Montalvo, actually, who brought it to me because he's quite that person. That astrology is useless unless you get the
Yeah.
timing right. So it's like because it's just like a sailboat is useless unless you catch the wind. So the genius of it that you don't see in any other astrology apps is that we are always telling you, we're basically just reaching out to you 7 times a day with text messages or emails. In the new app, by the way, it'll come through browser notifications. So you'll get browser notifications now. You don't have to have text messages. So people like in Canada, right now in Canada or foreign nations, because the telecoms are outrageous, we can't text message people in foreign outside the United States. So we're going to be able to instant message you through your browser at first. But the whole magic of it is when people have been subscribed for about 3 months, they feel their life shift. It's standard. There's something on 90 days, which is interesting because it's a square. So 90 is a square. So I'm fascinated by like the timing of things. But what it is once you're made aware of your energy and reminded of your energy, what we do is we nag you. And we're like, okay, now it's this, now it's this, now it's this, now it's this, now it's this. And you start to get into the chi flow of your life. We remind you, hey, it's time for a decision about this. And as soon as you're reminded, you do it. Like, it's not even like I have to force you because consciousness is simply awareness. So we're bringing to your attention what's important at that moment, right when the cosmic winds are blowing at that moment. And so people, their lives change, whereas they normally were stuck because they were disconnected and disassociated from where conscious needed to be at that moment to change.
Yeah. So the for people who haven't experienced it yet, my experience is that when I started off with your app, it would be because I wasn't in the habit of looking at how astrology affected my life. So I would get a message, I look at it like at the end of the day or the day after, and I go, oh, I wish I would have read that message earlier because that's what was going on. And then after a while, like 3, 4 months of consistently every day, then all of a sudden I started going, and during the day, I would feel this weirdness of energy or this excitement. I'd look on it and go, oh, that's what's going on. And then, fast forward years later, I'm like, I'm already acting in the way that is in my highest or best good before I get the message. The message is, oh yeah, I'm already there. Thanks.
Yes, that's the other thing is it's a pat on the back that you're on the right path. The other thing too that is a huge, like the biggest we hear is that, oh, thank God it's not me, because you get the message and it's like, serious alert, you might be furious about something in the next 2 hours. It's like, oh, it allows you to kind of you realize just how you are not an island, that you are part of a higher cosmos, that you're not alone. That's the other big thing about Sirius Joy. You're not alone. We're all feeling this right now. We're
Yeah.
all going through this because we tend to silo. I think a lot of the strategy of power and domination has been separate,
Yeah.
conquer. And so we've all, losing touch with each other, we've all forgot that we are a tribe going through it all together. And we've been made to think that we're all alone with no help and no resources. Like that's a spell that's been put on us to conquer us. So we're kind of an anti-spell in that regard, that we're constantly reminding you that like this is just this, everyone's going through this. Just want you to know. That's all we just want you to know.
And the reason why that, I had some days actually when you were on your little journey for 9 months. There are some times during that where I'm like all the emotions, all the situations are coming up, and I didn't have you to call. I didn't have you to talk to, and the app was like, okay, that makes sense. It was like not that misery loves comfort, but if I know it's coming anyways, I know everybody else is going through it. I don't take it so personally because it's that personal aspect. Why me?
Yes, precisely. And that's a big help to understand you're not crazy, and also the singular the other exciting part of the synchronicities. I can't tell you how many times even I get the app and I'm like, holy shit! Did I cannot believe that's exactly where I am right now. So the math is just undeniable as far as how the formula works. So a lot of times that the magic of the synchronicity is amazing. It looks like the weather's starting to storm out there. We're feeling that Cancer moon stuff, huh?
Yeah,
We're feeling the
it really is. As a matter of fact, we went out to do our reset at the beach this morning. We had our team out there, and it was like wind. It could hardly. I was doing maneuvers, and the wind was blowing me over, and it's like pelting rain.
yeah. Well, speaking back to the astrology of the moment, the moon in Cancer, the next 2 days, in a particular leading up to the full moon in Leo, is the old I'm unhappy and I'm tired of being unhappy. So I would just say you're going to see all your negative stuff come to the surface in the next 3 days. If you have been ignoring your heart, ignoring your truth, being inauthentic to yourself, there's going to be an emotional moment. And I see the weather is already, it's getting cloudy here too. We lost sunlight while we're on this call.
Yeah,
So things are getting,
isn't that bizarre?
yeah, in
I
both
mean,
locations. I'm in Colorado and you're in Mexico. So yeah.
it's just so bizarre how that happened because it's like we're sun, 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 and then you could really feel it. Like I got up this morning, the wind was howling, and when it's dark, the wind is howling, and you're putting on your swim trunks to go out and stand at a beach and get pelleted by rain, and it starts to play with the mind a little bit, and I felt it. I felt the Cancer come out today, but it's funny because Mary, who does our social media, she's the Cancer. She's like, woo.
I was gonna say, I'm seeing in the chat. What about if you're a Cancer? If you're a Cancer, actually, you're feeling empowered. You've been moody the last 3 days, and now you're coming back online because
So
the moon was in Cancer's 12th house the last 3 days, last 36 hours. So Cancers get strong, and the whole world goes down. You know what I mean, emotionally. So I think people are going to be really feeling it, and it's important. And I didn't mention this, but this weekend on Saturday, Mercury will conjoin Mars, Mercury will square the North Node, the Sun will square Jupiter, and Uranus will go direct all on Saturday. So
whoa,
Saturday is like this big fireworks sort of conscious event.
what is it?
Um,
Uranus goes direct. What does that feel like?
the escalator finally starts pushing upwards. So Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius,
Right.
okay? And we're in the sign of Aquarius. So it's kind of interesting because Uranus is what pushes us to go to a higher vibration. In fact, Uranus actually spins on its side. So if you approach Uranus from the front, you get kicked up. If you approach Uranus from the back, you get knocked down. And that's the energy of Uranus. It's breakdown, breakthrough. So Uranus is basically, it's not moving forward right now and pushing for innovation. It's on hiatus. So what's fascinating is that you spend this whole week with a full moon going, am I authentic to myself? And then Uranus on Saturday goes, okay, let's go. And everything then starts, and all planets will be direct as of Saturday. There'll be no retrograded planets at that point.
So we should feel like large and in charge, like out there on the doing whatever it is that we're doing in our lives.
Yeah, the images coming in my mind is when you're on a roller coaster and you're going up the. I think that's what you're going to feel when Uranus goes direct. You're like, oh, here we go. Hold on. Like, let's make sure these things work. Like, I think because it is going to be this sort of climb. You're going to sort of feel things climbing and start to see yourself coming out of the theme park that you were so invested in, kind of thing. And really, I would say, if you want to use this roller coaster analogy, on Valentine's Day is the crest.
Mm.
So the crest is Valentine's Day, strangely enough. And then
Interesting.
and then we go, "Wah!" It's gonna be fun. Party bus is here, so it'll be fun.
Okay, Chris, I'm looking forward to this week.
Me too.
And we're gonna talk to you right after. Looking
That's
forward
good.
to this week. I'm super excited about this full moon. Most full moons I come in and I'm like, what am I looking around like what's gonna hit me? This one it doesn't feel like it. It feels like something's gonna kick me. If it hits me, it's gonna kick me in the butt and push me forward.
This full moon is a full moon in Leo, so that's sunshine. That's happy times. That's happy endings, good songs, good people. It's the most joyous energy there is, and so it's really what's going to happen is you're going to break your Sirius so you can find your joy.
That's awesome, Chris. Thanks
Good
a lot,
wrap up.
buddy.
All right,
We'll see
brother.
you next week.
Okay, man. Ciao.
Take care. If you haven't done it yet, cruise on over to our store. Go to in our store. You'll find partners. You'll find Sirius Joy. Try it out for $3.99 for the first month. If you doesn't resonate, then move away. But if I'm pretty sure that it's going to shock the living daylights out of you how accurate it is. You're going to think that Chris is in your pocket listening to all your messages. And he's going to be like Google or Facebook, presenting you exactly what you're asking for. It's super powerful. It's changed my life. It's something our whole team lives with or works with, and it's something that I live by. It's been a major part of my transition, because to be stable in my body, I had to be stable in my emotions, which means I had to be stable in my beliefs. And all of those are a reaction to what's happening every day. So looking forward to this week coming up. Thank you all for joining today. And we will see you Astro Monday next week. And for those of you guys, we'll see you live tomorrow. And tomorrow we got breath work to start off. Take care.